More often than not, governmental and state entities tell us that they're there to protect us, to serve the community, and to serve as a buffer between the good guys and the bad guys. However, as I got into the practice of criminal defense, I largely found that idea to be a facade. It's not true. More often than not, prosecutors and those who are in positions of power use their position to demean the dignity of other human beings. They will slap horrible labels on them, and prior to there being any truth admitted into a courtroom and substantiated by any evidence, they will mistreat that person and dehumanize them by calling them a defendant and trample all over their constitutional rights. The area of criminal defense is the frontier of human rights and constitutional rights. What we are seeing more and more frequently is that the community and the government wants us to surrender those rights under the guise that they are providing us with stronger protection. That's not the case. The government is expanding its power over people. It's sending more and more people to jail and to prison, and we are largely turning our population into one that has either been incarcerated or will remain incarcerated for the rest of their lives. That is not where the society needs to go. We are free people. We are free thinkers. The last thing that we need is to take a wonderful, wonderful web of human beings and stuff them all behind bars. The reason I practice criminal defense is to stand up for those who are being prosecuted by overzealous district attorneys and AUSAs. The best time to plead a case is when the attorney has mastered the facts and knows everything about the client. The client must feel confident that his decision is one that's in his best interest, and the only way to get there is through proper, effective representation. In my opinion, whether you should go to trial is not based upon whether you are innocent or guilty of a crime. If the state cannot meet its burden of proof and show beyond a reasonable doubt that you actually committed a law offense under the code, then that's the best time to go to trial. There are 4 categories of skills that all good defense lawyers must have. They must master the law, they must have a command of forensics, they must also know everything about evidence, and lastly, they must be able to effectively and persuasively communicate a message. Without those 4 categories of skills, a lawyer cannot be effective. I'm proud to stand next to all my clients. However, in 2018, I went to trial with a man who was charged with capital murder. It was one of the most successfully litigated cases that I've had in my career. The man was charged with a double homicide, and the case involved absolutely lackluster investigation. It involved improper forensics. It also involved lying lay witnesses that I took up on cross-examination. The case was litigated successfully, and the family is in a much better spot because of it. In that case, there was a homicide detective that decided to do a subpar job. There was untested evidence, there was witnesses who went uninvestigated, and to be quite frank, it would appear as if the officer seemed to not care about the case because it was black on black crime. Upon cross-examination, he was completely unprepared. As he was unprepared, he was unable to answer very key questions. The officer's incompetence came to light. The jury was not happy with any of his questions. He tried to justify his answer by saying that the HPD homicide unit was audited by an independent study, and in that independent study, the review board said that homicide detectives should only have 3 to 6 cases. He then said that he should be given some slack because he was saddled with 16 on the year that this homicide occurred. The jury did not buy that. The jury did not find that to be a credible response, and more significantly, the officer's bias was exposed, as it was clear that he was prioritizing other murders over this one. My favorite clients to work with are those who understand the sheer volume of work that it takes to effectively represent them in criminal matters. Criminal defense is not an easy thing. It requires a master of the facts, which involves a pre-trial investigation. It involves going through all of the forensic issues, which can be limited or can be numerous, depending on the type of case. It also involves dealing with prosecutors, most of which are overzealous and out for blood. It also involves dealing with judges who either may have a misunderstanding of the law or will have interests that do not align with the client, such as moving dockets and whatnot. It also involves taking that pretrial investigation and explaining it thoroughly to the client so the client would have enough time to think about what is the best thing to do. Is this a case that you have to conduct damage control on, or is this a case that can be litigated successfully? If the choice is to go to trial, then the next thing that we have to do is take that pretrial investigation and turn it into a persuasive packet of information. The cross must be rehearsed, focus grouped, and on point. The voir dire must be taken through rounds of the voir dire must be practiced. The opening statement must be thoroughly rehearsed. Everything must be flawlessly executed, and the only way to get there is to be working closely with the client. The cases that keep me up at night and the clients who are the most challenging are the innocent ones. More often than not, I get clients that come in through my door professing innocence. Through a pretrial investigation, I can determine whether or not that claim of innocence is true or false. When I get a claim that is true, that's when I realize all the stops have to be pulled out. More often than not, there are lying witnesses that are being sponsored by the state. There's some type of junk science that could put them in prison, and the consequences attached to losing are enormous. Those are the cases that I find to be most challenging. If you hire me to be your defense lawyer, you can expect the following. First, you can expect an attorney who will be dedicated to your case. I will master the facts. I will know all of the forensic issues, and moreover, you will have full access to me in my office. My clients are never in the dark. My clients always know what's going on, and when my clients make a decision, such as to plead out or to go to trial, it's done after hours and hours and hours of consultation. You can also expect someone who is fully ready to go to trial and is passionate about his work. I take pride in all the cases that I sign on to. Any defense that I raise in trial are ones that I stand and stick by. My clients are never bullied. My clients are never subjected to any type of misconduct because I will catch it prior to it affecting the outcome of a case. If I'm your attorney, those are the expectations that you can have.